your destination for FRC content, updates, and gaming.
Welcome to the fun.
FRC Updates Now is supported by Stryker Careers. FRC alumni and mentors are making Stryker a top priority for their internships and careers. That's because Stryker knows that those in FRC are the leaders and innovators of tomorrow. If you want to help make the world a better place by creating life-saving medical devices and technology, get started at careers.stryker.com.
Next up is our Canada region, where we have 3 events that took place. Another 2 single-day events with the Ontario District, Humber College event, and the Canadian Pacific Regional. Sohaib is covering featured event this week, the 2 days of the Humber College event. Sohaib, tell us what happened in those events.
Yeah, Steve. So this was the first time a FRC robotics competition has taken place in Canada since 2020. And with many events canceled that year, this is the first time we actually saw many teams take the carpet. Early week 1 gremlins definitely existed, but it was so exciting to see almost everyone at least driving. Going into the event, we highlighted teams 2200 and 610, who definitely did not disappoint. For teams outside Ontario, it's running a little bit differently this year. With Ontario events having less than 24 teams, the eliminations logistics changed to only 4 alliances. Eliminations start at the semifinals, and from there they move on with the traditional brackets. So at the Humber College Day 1 event, 2200 and Robotics being undefeated in qualifications with a clean sweep of 9-0-0. They were the only team to average greater than 2 ranking points and were playing at a completely different level than the rest of the competition with a ranking score of 2.55. Team 2386, the Trojans, ranked second with the ranking score tied with Team 610, the Crescent Coyotes, of 1.66, with they going to the first tiebreakers of average match points. 2200 would go on to pick the 3rd seed in Team 610. They snagged Team 4015 Jag on the way back up the Serpentine. This alliance went on to win the semifinals in just autonomous, with scores of 57-10 in their first semifinal. Unfortunately for the number 4 alliance, their woes would only get worse as the number 1 alliance went on to win their second semifinal match with a score of 73-6. The finals match saw the number 1 alliance winning the first match, and the 2200-led alliance saw their first loss in the second finals match. They went on to narrowly win finals match 3 on foul points. Congratulations to Team 2200 and 610, and as well, special congratulations to Team 4015 for their first ever event win. That's always awesome. So going on to day 2, unfortunately, with this being Ontario's first event in a while, the hiccups did not stop at the robots as the videos weren't automatically backed up to the Blue Alliance. So we'll be watching a newscast highlighting Team 2200 showing their consistent traversal climb, which really sealed the deal for them at both events. 2200 seemed to be able to shoot from almost anywhere and would pick up their second ball and just aim and shoot. They leveraged the launch pad a few times to draw fouls off would-be defenders. Speaking of defenders, we saw Team 4476, the Waffles, and Team 7480, Machine Mavericks, debut their first swerve drivetrains. Those 2 Kingston swerve drivetrains were awesome to see, and I think there's really something to be said about swerve drivetrains going around the hub in this year's game. With 2200's stellar performance on day 1, it would take a lot for teams to look past this bad omen. Team 1241 Theory 6 was a last-minute registration and looked to be title contenders either alongside 2200 or leading an alliance against them. Going into this event, Team 5409, the Chargers, had released some images of their beautiful robot. 2200 went, again, undefeated in qualifications and picked Team 5409 and Team 7902, the Markham Firebirds. The number 1 alliance went undefeated in the playoff brackets. Congratulations to Team 2200, 5409, and 7902, the latter 2 getting their first ever event wins. Lessons from week 1. Consistency and reliability is going to be key, especially when back-to-back matches with bumper changes are a real possibility in these small Ontario events, leaving no time for repairs. Look forward to awards being announced later this week for both days of this event, as judging is being performed remotely in Ontario.
Thanks, Sohaib. Yep, next up covering the Canadian Pacific Regionals, Aiden. Aiden, why don't you tell us about that event?
All right, thanks, Steve. Well, Rapid React kicked off with a 22-team event up in Victoria, British Columbia this week. 63-64 10-ton robotics lived up to their name as event heavyweights, leading the ranking board with a score of 2.58 through traversal climbs and an 11-1 win-loss record. Though it's been a while since our last in-person events, they remembered just how the Alliance selection story typically goes and took the rank 2 team, 4421 TBD, a first-year team from Calgary, Alberta, along for the Elims ride. They also picked up 7167 Spectrum Thunderbots as their third. Leading the second alliance was 6485 Mecha Mustangs, event finalists and engineering inspiration winners from Canadian Pacific 2020. Joining them would be ninth rank 6351 Rundle College Robotics and rank 17 8082 TechMates. With only 21 teams eligible for elims, the first alliance received a bye and went directly to semifinals, then later the finals, while the second alliance fought their way up from quarters. They struggled on the way up, stumbling in the quarters, but reached the finals where they would face the number one. The first match was a tight series, 45-41 in favor of red, but some stalled robots and fouls pushed the margin wider in round two, 54-35, granting the number one alliance the win. Congratulations to the winners, 63-64, 44-21, and 71-67, each on their first blue banners. Only one true rookie was in attendance, 8794 Black Storm from Turkey, with the highest rookie seed award. Though not the winning team, 6390 Hephaestus went home with a double blue banner, taking their second Woody Flowers finalist award home, as well as their first Chairman's Award. Congrats to them. Finally, it turned out to truly be a 2022 from the Mecha Mustangs, who received the Engineering Inspiration Award after their finalist placing at the event, echoing their last event pre-COVID. Good luck to all the qualifying teams in Houston this year.
Thanks, Aiden. So we're going to bring back both Sohaib and Aiden for our Canada discussion. Aiden, what do you have to talk about this week?
What do I have to talk about this week? Well, it was interesting to see Canadian Pacific and how it played out running these small events. And Sohaib, I'm sure you're going to echo the same. How do we move forward with having smaller regionals or these day one, day two style events? You know, we're reaching points where the elims bracket is getting shallower and shallower. And you mentioned earlier in your recap, there's all this reliability that you really have to drive home. What happens when we don't get to have any backups at these events, right? What happens when the pool is just so shallow?
Yeah, going into this season, pretty much every team knew that we're going to have these smaller events, but I think there's something to be said about being there in person and having to play back-to-back matches. So reliability is going to be a really, really important thing, and just making sure that your robot is solid. And I think we'll see the robots start to get a little bit better. A lot of Ontario suffered lockdown, so everyone's got to remember we've been in lockdown for like 3 weeks of the season. So just the fact that we have robots out on the field, I expect to see the level of play pick up pretty quickly, as we saw with 2200 and a few other teams. I just can't wait to see like where this game goes in Ontario.
Yeah, you know, again, just that repeating, you know, the reliability, the consistency, you know, those short cycle times are going to be a factor all season for you guys up there in Canada as well, in Ontario at least. Well, for both of you. But one thing I'll say is that 2200, I mean, that traversal climb looked really impressive. And the fact that they were so consistent and walked through that event is really a credit to that program and that team and how well they did with the, you know, even with the shutdowns and everything else. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good discussion. Looking forward to a lot more through the season.
Thanks to Stryker Careers for their support in this video. First alumni and mentors are making Stryker a top priority for their internships and careers. That's because Stryker knows that those in FIRST are the leaders and innovators of tomorrow. If you want to help make the world a better place by creating life-saving medical devices and technology, get started at careers.stryker.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.